Could Toshi theoretically become the number one meme coin on the base network? I don't see why not. And not the only reason is because I could hypothetically see it go into the price of 2 cents during this bull run. But really, if we take a look at the base network, we all know it's very special. But then in terms of meme coins, it's not like it has a meme coin ecosystem, much like, a Solana or like, Ethereum, for instance, right? It's still kind of not really doing the best as of right now in terms of the diversity, but it doesn't really mean it's a bad thing. If anything, it's a blessing in disguise when it comes to Toshi, because keep in mind, right? As of right now, I would arguably say that the only competition that Toshi has is Brett within, again, the base network. Now, when you take a look at Brett, it's often considered to be number one. Many people would still say that as of right now, but really, if I take a look at the momentum that I saw not too long ago when it comes to Toshi, even though there's a pullback as of right now, I'm totally aware of that. But that was a small glimpse, and I felt like, wow, that right there could really have the makings of Toshi potentially allowing it to become number one, let's say during a fully fledged bull run. Because if you take a look at it, the amount of passion, the amount of drive, the amount of motivation that a lot of the fans have when it comes to Toshi, it was just a little bit different. It just feels like this is very rock solid in terms of the community, and this really does matter for a meme coin. In terms of the passion, in terms of the drive, Toshi is there. It has the opportunity to become number one, in my opinion, because I think that naturally, Toshi is just more fitting when it comes to the base network. Don't get me wrong, I'm very bullish on Brett, and I still think it could hypothetically do well, but I'm just saying, think about this, right? If you take a look at Toshi, it has more of a logical connection to the base network and also Coinbase and also even the co-founder of Coinbase. Let me explain why. Because if we take a look at Brett again, it's cool, but then it's a little bit different than Toshi. Toshi is named after Brian Armstrong's pet cat. Brian Armstrong is the co-founder of Coinbase, and Coinbase has a layer 2 network called the Base Network, which Toshi is on. And not to mention, Toshi is listed on Coinbase. So really, it has more of a logical connection, which is why a lot of people even dub, right? They give a nickname when it comes to Toshi as being the mascot or the face of the Base Network. Even though Brett would be considered to be a much more, bigger meme coin, a lot of people like to say, right, in terms of the hype currently, even despite that, Toshi is more fitting. I think Toshi has a higher ceiling currently in terms of the hype and the attention, maybe, right? It may not necessarily translate it to guarantee to become number one, but I'm just saying that in terms of the hype that I saw, if I kind of look at that and I see, hey, we saw that not too long ago. Imagine during a fully fledged bull run and Bitcoin goes down to 50,000, 200,000, 250,000. Man, this could be just a lot more dynamic. If I were to put an analogy on this, I will say this, and I'm going to use an NFL reference when it comes to this. Take a look at Drew Bledsoe when he was playing for the New England Patriots. Was he a bad quarterback? I mean, no, I don't think so. I think he was actually pretty good. He went to a Super Bowl. He lost, though, but I'm just saying it was still pretty decent. But then guess who came along? Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady is like a Toshi right here. Drew Bledsoe is like a Brett. There's nothing wrong with Brett. But then when you take a look at Toshi, it feels like it just has a higher ceiling. Like when I take a look at Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe is very good. He would be doing very good for another NFL team, right? Who knows? But then I'm just saying, when it comes to the New England Patriots, it just felt like Tom Brady was more fitting. You know what I mean? He just felt like he had the skills to really take this to the whole different level. And he did do that. Toshi has the opportunity to do that, but then it hasn't had a chance to spread its wings yet. But then, in my opinion, it's a matter of time, because once Bitcoin goes to the price of, again, $100,000, let's say, again, can you imagine the psychological barrier at that point? They would be like, whoa, okay, Bitcoin can go to those levels again, then suddenly 150,000, 200,000, maybe 250,000. Really, the sky's the limit when it comes to something like Toshi, and 2 cents still wouldn't be that crazy to me. It may seem a little bit bearish at that point, but I'm just saying, I think Toshi could be something special, and Ethereum, it's going to continue to grow. And I think as long as Ethereum does grow, these layer 2s, much like the base network, is going to go along with the ride. But then the special thing about something like the base network is the fact that it is Coinbase's layer 2. So it has that special backing, in my opinion, a lot different than other layer 2s out there that were made by very smart individuals, of course, right? Which I've seen in a lot of cases. Even despite that, when something has the backing of Coinbase, that's just a whole different level right there. $100 million, let's say, invested to a company coming from an investor that we don't really know is different than, let's say, Mark Cuban investing $100 million, right? If let's say a company got $100 million in investments and they say it's from this investor, people would be like, okay, that's cool. That's awesome. Congratulations. But then if it's coming from Mark Cuban, now that holds a different level right there. Again, it's much like these other, layer 2 networks. Yes, at the end of the day, a layer 2 network is a layer 2 network. It's like, for instance, let's say $100 million invested in a company, at the end of the day is still $100 million, right? It doesn't matter who it's really, let's say it's coming from Mark Cuban or another investor, it's still 100 million. But then if Mark Cuban does it, let's say, for instance, it just holds a different gravitas, right? There's a different level of aura. There's a different level of energy there. Much like, for instance, when it comes to a layer 2, we take a look at Arbitrum. Arbitrum is a very good layer 2, but really, what has more gravitas? What has more of an aura, a presence? Arbitrum or a layer 2 by Coinbase, right? Let's say the base network. I would say the base network has more of a gravitas. Arbitrum, I would say, arguably is more popular, like in terms of the adoption, maybe I would say, right? At least perceived to. But when you take a look at the base network, it has more of that aura. It has that presence. So the way you take a look at it is that when it comes to something like this does matter. And keep in mind, if Toshi were to go to the price of 2 cents, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $8 billion, which is around a 50x from here, which I think is actually very fantastic for me because even despite what Toshi did not too long ago, I did not sell anything. And I don't plan to, like, let's say next week or anything like that, because why would I do that? That makes no sense for me because here's the thing. The way you take a look at it is that that's just a glimpse. Even if Toshi did a 10x tomorrow, which I highly doubt it will do that tomorrow, but I'm just saying, let's say he did a 10x for whatever reason tomorrow, right? I still wouldn't sell because 2 cents is still very far from that point. Well, not really at that point, right? But I'm just saying, like, in terms of the grand scheme of things, I felt like there's still a ways to go, which is why I would not, sell Toshi anytime soon or even like in the next week or whatever, even if it were to do amazing things, because I think better days are ahead. Usually altcoins is a worst case scenario. They typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. And the last Bitcoin halving event happened in April of last year. So 18 months from then is actually around October this year. Still plenty of time. This is based off history though. There's no telling when things are ever really going to peak because history isn't always going to repeat itself. But really, when I take a look at the base network, when I take a look at Ethereum, when I take a look at Coinbase, when I take a look at something like Toshi, I highly doubt that it's going to fail. If someone says that the base network isn't going to do good, are they saying that Ethereum is going to do bad? Are they saying that that is the case? I don't think so, right? In some cases. So as long as Ethereum does good, naturally, the base network is going to go along with the ride. And I think, of course, it's only logical to assume that if that gains popularity, also something like Toshi, which is on the base network, I think is also going to go along with the ride as well. So really, I don't see why Toshi is a bad pick for me in 2 cents. That's still my price target for this one. And has the opportunity to become number 1 on the base network. However, only time will tell, at least in terms of meme coins, but I'm willing to wait and see. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. Greatly appreciate it. It's Believe the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm a peace. Bye.